What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy the D here, aka the captain of the Thunder God Pirates, and oh lord, Oda kind of dropped it on us today. Not gonna lie. Last week we actually got all the devil fruits of the Toby Ropo, so we know about Black Maria, Who's Who, Sasaki, as well as we already knew about Page One, Ulti, and Drake. This week, we start off with an Ace flashback, and not gonna lie, it's giving me some not suspicions, but it pisses me off a little bit. The chapter in and of itself is good. I saw some spoilers, which I normally try to avoid, but I have a friend who insists on spoiling me. Thank you, Kaylin. Appreciate you motherfucker. But yeah, so I kind of knew what was going on in this chapter prior. I've known since I think last Monday, Tuesday, some shit. Anyway, but yeah, I've known about what was gonna happen for a while. So yet again, going into this, I kind of expected it, but just hearing some of the things, and seeing them for myself, it's kind of evoked a little bit of emotion. But yeah, as always, if you like what you're about to hear, if you like what you hear, definitely like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the chapter. Also, make sure to hit my Linktree in the description. Today, in which I'm recording this, December 20th, I will be doing a stream later. I've been trying to get through No More Heroes. I'm trying to get through 1 and 2 before 3 comes out next year. So definitely make sure to hit me up with that. I think I should be going live around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Either 7 or 7:30, sometime that Eastern Standard Time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the chapter. All right, and we start the review in a flashback. One Piece, chapter 999. Speaking of which, I don't think I mentioned the intro, but we are really about to get chapter 1000. Oh, and just a quick not quick update, but a quick, not spoiler, but apparently it says that the next chapter is due out on January 3rd. So it's no chapter next week. We get chapter 1000 on the 3rd. It's like I said, that's what it says here, the 3rd. And then, apparently from what it's saying, probably normally goes this time of year, Christmas week off, then they come back with a chapter first week of January, and then after that it's gonna be another break. So pretty much they're gonna stagger chapters. So no chapter December 27th, a chapter the 3rd, and then no chapter again the week after that. But then we should be back to regular shit. But without further ado, One Piece, chapter 999, the sake I brewed to drink with you. Alright, we start off, like I said, in the middle of a flashback, and we hear someone say, "Stop, Ace, let's go back." And we then see Ace with his firepower, which, my nigga, bruh, I don't know about y'all, but Ace is my favorite One Piece character. And it's shit like this, I love seeing Ace. Still mad he died, but I'm not gonna go there with y'all right now, because we're here for a chapter review. But he's in pitched combat with Yamato, which says a lot, man, because I think we kind of downplay Ace yet again, because we saw him do some shit pre-time skip, but it's not to be he's not to be underscored, he's not to be underestimated. This man was really out in the new world doing shit. And it's also important to notice that he does not have his Whitebeard tattoo on his back. We can see his back as he's clashing with Yamato, and he even proclaims to Yamato while he's fighting him that he proclaims his name, that he's here to kill Kaido. But then Yamato is as he's stepping back, he says that his father and his men are on expedition, and there's not a single officer here. And then even Ace's crew, who we get a look at, because I know Oda kind of depicted them, because the Ace novel, which wasn't written by Oda, but it was he drew some of the character designs. But got guys like Mass Deuce, who I believe is Ace's first mate, and a couple of the other guys. But yeah, we see a couple of his crewmates a man, a man with an open shirt, with a sword, what looks like a lion, a big burly motherfucker carrying a giant rifle, a guy with a top hat who, again, with glasses, who isn't Mass Deuce. Again, Mass Deuce has a mask. And then some other guy who either has pigtails or it might be like swords with tassels on his back. And then we cut down to see that he's in the main hall of Wano, and everything's on fucking fire, and everybody has had the dog shit beat out of them. Like, Jesus Christ. So, but to kind of elaborate, so whatever they were doing, this would have had to be like, it was before Luffy, so it was in the 3-year gap. But since, because, Ace is 3, should be 4 years older than Luffy. But, so in those 3 years, he was doing this. So, what was I going at that point? I don't know. This is in that 3-year gap. So, and also, it's like, damn, Ace did a lot. Because we found out, at the flashback before the Marineford War, that not only was he recognized as one of the strongest up-and-comers, they even said to other pirates, but he was also extended an invitation to join the warlords. So it's like we're really starting to see like a warlord Ace would have been a problem, because he had no problem storming Kaido's island and really wrecking shit. But they used to say, from what Yamato said, there was nobody there. So potentially, I know this was before Drake got there, so there was no Drake. But potentially, it was Page One, Ulti, Black Maria, Who's Who, and Sasaki. Potentially, because we don't know how long all of them have been Tobiropo. So potentially, it looks like Page One and Ulti are some of the youngest. So they may have not been there. So it might have just been Black Maria, Sasaki, and Who's Who, along with 3 other now defunct members of the Tobiropo. But it opens a question: what were they doing? Because normally, especially with the Yonko, like they'll send their men out, like they'll send their commanders, like how Kaido sent Jack to go find Raizo. So there was something so important that Kaido himself, he took himself, the Calamities, King, Queen, and Jack, potentially the Tobiropo, and probably some headliners too. To do what? Like, what mission was so important that they felt like they needed all that power? Because yet again, this is before Luffy's journey, so, and we don't hear too much about anything that happened then, at least involving Kaido. Although I think this is going to have some significance later. Like, what the fuck were you doing that was so important? And Pola, probably the numbers too. So, what the fuck were you doing that was so important that you felt the need to take all that strength? That's going to be something that we need to look out for in the beginning. But moving on, we see Ace go ahead and notice that, Yamato is shackled. But one of the crewmates, they then say, Ace, that they all need to go. Because, of course, and then we see some other potential crewmates, or, well, there's one motherfucker with a skull mask in the corner. But yeah, so pretty much it's here that we learn the only reason they came here because there were a bunch of kidnapped children, and they want to return them to their families. And then Ace, yet again he's displaying his overzealous fire personality, because even then he's like, no, someone as strong as you isn't the captain. It just doesn't make any sense. But he says he wants to settle it. And Yamato even says, like, hell, I'm bored anyway, so I'll be your opponent. And they continue to clash. And as they're clashing, Ace even goes on to say, you can't choose your father. Pretty much going back to his own thing, because yet again, someone like Yamato is like in his shoes, doesn't like his father. Now, at least with Yamato, he got to know his father. With Ace, yet again, it was a lot of things that he heard growing up that kind of painted his outlook on Roger. So Ace he then goes on to say, you hate your old man, you really hate your old man, but forget about the cuffs. Why did you let him change your heart? You know, kind of speaking of the fact that, you know, Yamato feels that he can't do anything, like even above, you know, even above his physical limitations. He doesn't even try to do things his own way. And it's then that we see Babanuki and a couple of the other headliners. They're trying to caution Yamato against doing something. But it's then we see that the dragon statue, apparently it was wrapped around one of the ceremonial gates towards the entrance. Yamato then goes on to knock the head off, saying that he wishes he could leave, but he can't, and he wants to live. He wants to go out to sea and have his own adventures and live as free as Odin did. And then Ace smiles at that, telling him that's the spirit, and then further melting the giant metal statue. They then go on to party, and it's here saying that it's here during the party that Yamato says that if he ever gets those shackles off, he's gonna go out to sea. And then he, yet again, I'm gonna go between he and she, because I don't know if Yamato is truly trans. She biologically says that she wants to be Odin. I don't know if the fact that she biologically feels like she should be a he, like she is legitimately a man, or if she doesn't understand that you can carry on somebody's will and not necessarily be them. So I'm gonna say she. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna alternate between she and he. It's no disrespect. If you're trans listening to this, you are valid in whatever sex/gender you want to be. But I'm just trying to make shit easier for myself. And like I said, we don't know if Yamato truly feels that she should be a man, or if she just wants to be Odin and she just feels that she has to be a man in order to follow in his footsteps, which you don't have to. Anyway, she then goes on to say, you know, ask like, what's it like out there? Are there lots of people like you? And then we hear that Ace mentions Cavendish, not fully by name. He says, there's this Caven guy, something, hell, I don't know. People are talking about him, I guess. And then he goes on to say that he's in a level of his own, which was really true. Ace was truly in a league of his own. Like, this shit, like the way he was doing shit was immaculate. But he also says that he hears about other guys. Now, when it came to the Cyber Odi Archipelago, we figured that everybody who was with Ace, well, everybody who was in the same class as Luffy, we were all made to believe that they were all pirates, you know, just starting out like Luffy. Because remember, the Straw Hats, prior to the time skip, hadn't even been together a year. So we kind of unintentionally put that on the others as well. Kid, Law, Beige, Hawkins, and the others. No, that's not the case. It's here that he says that he hears about other guys tearing up seas. Kid in the south, Law in the north, Beige in the west. Now, and we should really kind of unpack this, because we know from Beige's story in the Whole Cake Island flashback, well, in his story, not in the flashback of Whole Cake Island, but in his story that took place during Whole Cake Island, that he's been in the crime business for a long time. But when it came time, you know, for people to strike back, he set out to sea to kind of avoid that. So we knew he'd been around in the West Blue for years, you know, as a crime boss, but not necessarily a pirate. But it's here that even 3 years ago, Beige was with the shits. Then we hear about Kid, who, and it should be noted that Kid and, not Hawkins, Kid and Law, because both of them are mentioned here as well, Kid in the south, Law in the north. They're both older than Luffy. I think currently they're about 20, I think Kid's about 28, and Law is like 26. But they're much, in terms of years, they're not that much older, but they are a good chunk older than Luffy. Like, I think Law is either like 22, he's either 22 or 26. I think he might be 26 now, or he's either 24 or 26. And I know Kid's about the same. I think he's like 26 or 28. So now we know that even though they were rookies, they still hadn't been pirates very long. So that just goes to show that Luffy was really doing this shit. because he was able to be mentioned in the same category as them. And it's here that Ace even shoots Luffy some bail and gives him some flowers. But the toughest of them all won't be setting sail for a few years. My little brother. Ace then goes on to say he's gonna be big, he's gonna be massive. And even Yamato, who hasn't known him very long, is like, hey man, how many times are we gonna talk about your brother, dog? Like, how many times are we gonna have to hear about him? And Ace was like, as many times as it takes, because it's true. Which Luffy did. He did his brother justice. Ace spoke about Luffy like he was gonna be the next big thing, and Luffy has done his damnedest to make sure, even without knowing it, to prove his brother right. But anyway, Yamato then, he's in the showroom with Shinobu and damn it, what's that kid's name? Momo and Shinobu. He's in there, explains to them. He then goes out and tells them, like, yeah, I was the one who broke it. But then Ace said, this is a warning to Kaido until the next time I show up here, which is when he burned it. He said that his father was furious when he returned, but he never saw Ace in person. Momo then says, there was a pirate trying to save Wano as well? Wait, father? And then it's here, because yet again, Momo and them still didn't know. And Yamato even goes on to say Kaido was his father, to which they both, Shinobu rolls away and Momo just scoots back. But as he's doing that, Yamato's like, hey, I hate my dad, it's cool, I'm not fucking with him. But even then they say like, okay, I think we understand. And Yamato's like, okay, y'all can come over here now, it's cool. And Momo then goes on to say that, hey, why would you tell us about that? Why is that important? And then Yamato said that Ace died 2 years ago. And Momo's like, oh, I didn't know. And then Yamato goes on to explain. But then we cut over to where Tama is with Nami. And she said that, and she's telling Nami, like, yeah, I met Ace, I believed him, and that's why she's working to be Equinoichi. And she said, Luffy told me about it, but he wasn't very gentle, which Nami agrees, like, yeah, he's not very delicate about things like that. But she then goes on to say that, there's a reason Luffy is the way he is, and that Ace dying was a lot more painful for him than it was for you. To which Tama's like, what? And we yet again cut away from this. I don't know why we had to cut away from this, but we cut back to the performance floor inside the dome. Now, Queen, yet again being on the performance stage, is telling everybody, stop him, don't let him get away, because yet again, Marco's planning on taking the Straw Hats up to where Kaido is to help him to fight. And the Beast, even one who's cloaked in fire, Marco's fire, he's like, do we really have to? He saved our lives. And another Beast who's also infected is like, do you really want to question that man's orders and get us killed? To which they start attacking. And then Marco's like, look, I'm not going straight after Kaido. And as he's being attacked, he tells Nico Robin, who he pronounced her whole name, which everybody does. Nico Robin. It's never like Robin or Nico. It's just, hey, Robin. Bone Man, which is no first name, which is why he calls him Bone Man. He's like, run to the castle. And, they're like, okay, cool. And then as they're dogpiling Marco, he goes ahead and he asks Zoro, is he ready? And Zoro's like, yeah. To which he transforms to his full Phoenix form and then goes on to fly up. And then Queen, who's looking, is like, okay, he's carrying a straw hat. And Marco, who's carrying Zoro, who's like, nice view. I think it's one of the first times he ever flew. No, there was that time Orlumbus chucked his ass. But yet again, as Marco's flying, he's remembering a time when Ace was on his ship. Okay. Now, this is something that I really don't jive with, okay? Okay, so now a few chapters back, when Marco was riding on the submarine, and Nekomamushi and them were like, hey, why didn't y'all come? Marco was like, yo, we didn't know it was this bad. I mean, Kaido, one of the cruelest pirates who gained infamy among pirates for his cruelty, was ruling over Wano. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen? Like, really, my nigga? But anyway, this flashback, it's showing that after joining Whitebeard's crew, Ace wanted to go back. He told them what happened. He told them that Oden was killed. He told them, hey, shit's getting pretty real over there. I made a promise I was coming back. We should go. So it was then that Whitebeard, after knowing this information, told him, there's nothing we can do. Like, it's already been a few years. And pretty much, they didn't know until several years later, and they chose never to come to his aid. Ace then wants to say, hey, I'll go on my own, but Whitebeard yet again tries to stop him, saying that you think you can kill the man that Kozuki Oden could not? Don't be conceited. And then we even see that rat bastard Blackbeard back on his time. He even says that, hey, Ace just wants to take down a big shot, but he also says, but Ace says in rebuttal, hey, I just want to keep my promise. And even Marco says that, it's not about him taking out a big shot. He just wants to keep his promise. And Marco and Kiku's brother. Marco and Kiku's brother. God damn, I can't remember that motherfucking name. I bet you once I stop recording, I'm gonna remember it. Anyway, Marco and Izo, even they're like, hey, we'll go. Hey, if Pops ever gives the go ahead, we'll go. But so, and I was texting a friend of mine about the chapter, and this is dumb. I gotta make a video about this. This shit is hyper stupid. Because Whitebeard grew up on Sphinx Island without a family. He left to protect Sphinx Island and to, do for it. He eventually ended up on Rox's crew. Rox's crew was a crew with no real bond between them. They just saw each other as means to an end. Whitebeard didn't like that. The only thing that he ever truly wanted for was a family. So after, meeting Oden and becoming his brother, you hear that your brother was murdered. And instead of actually stepping up and avenging him, you say, oh, well, it's been a couple of years, no reason to do it now. There might be casualties. That's some bullshit to me. It's like, okay, and believe me, Oda has proved himself to be a god among writers. Like with his setups, with the political intrigue, with the world building, Oda has proven himself to truly be a GOAT. Like Goda, like it's real. But it's here that it starts to fumble, because Whitebeard's been characterized as a man who truly treasures the people on his crew. Like, remember when he pulled up to go save Ace, Whitey Bay and some of the other pirates who were with him, a lot of them were once crew members. They weren't directly Whitebeard pirates. They were ex-crew members. Like Whitey Bay used to be a Whitebeard pirate, but yet again, they come to each other's aid when necessary. So you're saying that someone who you called your brother was killed and you couldn't even lift a finger? That kind of shits on Whitebeard's characterization. Because yet again, he's been propped up as this pirate this man who really values the people around him, who would stop at nothing to avenge anyone who would try to hurt somebody he loved, who he cared about. Now, not to get too deep in this, like I said, I do want to make a separate video about this, but my friend, he was like, hey, Oden defected to, Roger's crew. He's like, yeah, but even then, there was never any bad blood, and he even didn't want to leave. He felt that familial connection with Oden. And it's like, yeah, he might have went to Roger's crew and before going back, but still, out of respect for the time you spent together, you couldn't even muster a fight. You couldn't even go and, not at least, go Wano and be like, Kaido, if I ever catch your ass, I'm gonna kill you. Like, you couldn't do that. So, I don't know, man. That shit just kind of fucks up Whitebeard's character for me. A little bit. It doesn't completely ruin him, but it really does kind of make you think. But anyway, after the flashback's over, we see Marco continue to fly, and we see the hole within view, but we see two shadows. One of a brachiosaur and the other of a pterodon. So both King and Queen are like, you didn't really think we were just gonna let you slide. And if so, you're in for we gotta teach you a lesson. And then they even say like, hey, you know, once the kid's dead, this is over. So this is kind of it for you. But Marco then goes on to say, if that's what you think, you're in for a rude awakening. You're pitting yourselves against the new generation now. And it's then it's here that Queen, who apparently swallowed a fucking Gatling gun, hitting the bullets at Marco, which he's just letting it pass through him because he's a bird made of fire. But then we cut back, which this chapter is kind of the king of cuts. I'm like, God, if we could have just kept shit going like a little consistent. You don't need to jump around, like, especially for this whole Luffy is Ace's brother thing. It's like, dog, you could have just got this shit together and we could have, just moved the fuck past that. But anyway, so then we cut back to the back of the Koma Inu to where Toma is like, what? Like Luffy's Ace's brother? And then she goes on to kind of like cry and feel bad because you're like, oh, I touched a real sore spot. Because remember, when Luffy said it to her, she said that he was lying. He didn't know what he was talking about. And Nami then goes on to assure her, like, look, Luffy's kind of a straightforward person. If he was upset about it, he'll let you know. And then Nami then says, let's do that plan of yours. And we cut back to Momonosuke saying that Ace was Roger's son and Luffy's brother. Yamato then goes on to tell them, like, so out of all the pirates in this world, you happen to find Ace's brother. Out of everybody, you could have found anybody else. Like, you could ran into the Heart Pirates, you could ran into the Kid Pirates, or anybody else. But instead of that, you ran into the one person who was kind of connected to shit. Serendipity. An act of fate. But Yamato then goes on to state, while looking at a book, and it looked like an old book that was put together, not none of that good-looking leather-bound shit. It looks like just some paper that were stapled together. It's papers that were stapled together and like rudimentally bound together. And then, but yet again, after all, Luffy's name has the letter D in it. But we then cut to the final part of the chapter where we see Big Mom on top of Onigashima. And in the distance, we can see a huge Zeus and Prometheus. And Prometheus eating fire. And Zeus stating that his stomach is full and that he's all recharged. Mama! Big Mom says to Kaido. So, Straw Hat's not here yet. It's then the Big Mom, while riding on Zeus, approaches Kaido and tells him, look, you can kill anybody you want, but definitely Nico Robin must live. So Kaido then goes on to say, like, wait a minute, what about that little three-eyed brat you had? Can't she, breathe poneglyphs too? But Big Mom goes on to retort, like, look, I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't got time to wait for that shit. Then she asks about Onigashima moving, which she's noticed. So where are you gonna put it? And then Kaido says that there's a castle in the flower capital, a castle in the flower capital that stands as a testament to the Kozuki clan, and he's gonna use it to crush it. And then Big Mom's like, hey, isn't that gonna kill a lot of people? Kaido's like, he's callous. He doesn't care. It's like, I can get more slaves. That's not an issue. But I'm stopping this shit out now. But he then goes on to drink and says he'll make a nice capital. He'll make a nice capital for his new kingdom. Big Mom then goes on to say, your world poneglyph isn't there? To which Kaido retorts, like, look, don't ask those questions. It's a little too early for you to be showing your hand. She then says don't insult her, and that she still thinks of him as a little brother. And here is where kind of like the meat of the discussion comes from. On the day the rocks fell at God Valley, I gave you the legendary model of the fIsH fruit. You owe me for life. whatever you say, we can talk after we get it. The One Piece. Next chapter, January 3rd. So it is now that we can finally say definitively what Kaido's power is. Some people were saying he's a dragon. Some people saying he ate a mythical dragon fruit. Some people say that he was a dragon who ate the Oni fruit. No. Kaido, until further notice, because them horns are still weird, is probably a giant or someone with ancient giant like Oars Jr. lineage who ate the fish fruit. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering, like, a fish? That don't make no sense. And as I was telling my friend, if you've ever played Pokemon, it makes sense. Magikarp evolves into Gyarados. And now, I'm not so well versed, but a lot of the Pokemon designs were actually made in regards to something like yokai, like Geodude is a yokai. And mythological animals, yet again, Moltres being a phoenix, and Ninetales being made after the Nine-tailed fox. And I think even like Frostlass is like a Yuki-Onna. And there are other Pokemon that, Magikarp being a carp, that have, origins about, within mythology. Hell, I think there's a legend in which even it ties back to Wano, the koi fish that swim up the pond. I think there's a legend saying that if a koi fish can swim up the pond, it'll then be rewarded by becoming a dragon. So, makes perfect sense why this shit happened. So, some people's like, oh, it doesn't make sense. No, it makes perfect sense. Still kind of weird though, but it makes perfect sense. So, I always thought it was weird that Kaido didn't have a mythical zone user in his entourage. Because I could have sworn like King was going to be a mythical zone. Like he's going to be like a gargoyle or a manticore or some shit like that. But no, the mythical zone is Kaido. He ate the fish, a mythical model of the fish fruit, which allows him to turn to a dragon. Yet again, Koi swam up the mountain, became a dragon, like Magikarp. Eventually, it got rewarded by becoming Gyarados, who was really like the first dragon-like Pokemon. I mean, it's not a dragon type, it's a water flying, but still. But yes, so we know Kaido's fruit now. So at least the thing about him being an actual dragon, dispelled. It's a fish fruit. Well, at least it looks like a fish fruit. Yet again, Oda could really throw us a curveball. But we've now got to one. On January 3rd, we will get One Piece, Chapter 1000. This chapter, it was really good. Like, yet again, it's a motion chapter, just moving shit along. The one thing that I really didn't like was the constant cutting around. I'm like, bruh, you didn't need to cut around for some of that shit. You could have just said, oh, you could have cut back between Tama and Nami and Yamato and Momo for like the first half of the chapter and just got it out the way. Then you'd need to spread this shit throughout like the entire chapter. Like that was kind of unnecessary. But still, so now we know, of course, yet again, we know Big Mom and Kaido were looking for the One Piece. And we know Kaido's fruit. So now, on to 1000. Like, are we going to get a Kaido flashback finally? And during the Kaido flashback, we have to touch on rocks. Because it was known that Big Mom had the fish fruit. Well, the mythical model of the fish fruit. And that's when she gave it to Kaido. So, yeah. So if we do get a Kaido flashback, it's either going to be now, which would be really dope, or it's going to be later. But whenever we get that Kaido flashback, we have to touch on God Valley. So that should give us answers some questions. But knowing Oda is going to answer like 1 or 2 questions and give us like 80 more. But anyway, I hope you found this enjoyable. If you did like what you hear, consider subscribing, hitting that bell, and hitting the like button. But this has been your boy, The D, signing out. See you guys.